Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. As the Miami Dolphins close out Phase 2 of their 2025 off-season program, one glaring issue continues to loom large over the franchise: the uncertainty at the cornerback position. While Jalen Ramsey's name still carries weight and Kader Kohou has shown flashes, the rest of the cornerback room is filled with question marks. With speculation swirling about Ramsey potentially being traded before training camp, Miami is in desperate need of reinforcements. At this point, the Dolphins have little choice but to think outside the box, and that could mean revisiting a name from their past: Damon Arnette. Once considered one of the top defensive back prospects in the 2020 NFL Draft, Arnette's career took a nosedive due to legal troubles and off-the-field issues. But now he's turning heads again, not in the NFL but in the UFL, where he's making a case for a second shot at the big leagues. Damon Arnette is not a name you'd expect to see pop up in NFL circles in 2025, but here we are. The former first-round pick of the Las Vegas Raiders has resurfaced as a standout performer for the Houston Roughnecks in the United Football League. At 28 years old, Arnette is trying to write the kind of comeback story that football fans love, but front offices approach with caution. According to NFL insider Aaron Wilson, multiple NFL teams have inquired about Arnette's play and potential availability. That's significant. It shows that teams, including the Dolphins, might be willing to overlook the baggage if the talent and attitude are right. Arnette's physical tools were never the issue. It was his judgment, maturity, and legal troubles that derailed a once promising career. The fact that he's even in this conversation again is a testament to how far he's come since those darker days. Let's rewind a bit. Arnette finished the 2021 season on the Dolphins practice squad, a brief and quiet stint that many fans might not even remember. At that time, Miami brought him in following his release from the Raiders, who had cut ties with him after a disturbing social media video surfaced, showing him brandishing a gun and making threats. The Dolphins didn't make much noise about the signing, and perhaps wisely so. He never saw the field in a game for them, and once the season ended, the team opted not to offer him a futures contract. It was a sign that while they were open to giving him a temporary home, they weren't quite ready to bet on his long-term value. Still, the fact that he completed that stint without incident might suggest that Miami saw something worth exploring, even if the timing back then wasn't right. After Miami passed, Arnette got a quick look from the Kansas City Chiefs signing a futures deal in early 2022. But once again, off-field issues emerged and the Chiefs cut him loose barely a week later. It seemed like the end of the road. For a while, Arnette disappeared from football conversations entirely, but behind the scenes, he was trying to piece his life back together. He had children to care for, parents still supporting him, and something to prove, not just to the NFL, but to himself. He reportedly sought a spot in the UFL as early as 2024, but was initially denied due to his background. It wasn't until this season that he was finally allowed in, and he hasn't wasted the opportunity. The man once known more for headlines and highlights is now earning respect for his play and professionalism. In a recent interview following a community event at the Houston Public Library, Arnette spoke with the kind of introspection that only comes after hard lessons. "I'm 28 years old right now with 3 kids, he told KPRC2. "I feel like I've proved a complete turnaround. I wasn't a professional before. I was just a dog. I found professionalism and a calm state of mind. I feel like I'm the best version of myself that I've ever been." That kind of self-awareness is rare in professional athletes, especially those trying to climb their way back into the spotlight. Arnette isn't promising the world. He's not begging for forgiveness. He's letting the tape and his actions speak for themselves, and that might just be enough to earn him one more shot. Performance-wise, he's backing it all up. In the 2025 UFL season, Arnette has tallied 17 tackles, 1 sack, and an interception returned for a touchdown. Solid numbers that suggest he's not just filling space on a roster, but making plays. Granted, the UFL isn't the NFL. The talent level is lower, and the speed of the game isn't quite the same. But it's also filled with hungry players all fighting for a chance. Standing out in that environment is no small feat, especially for someone who hasn't played a regular season NFL snap in 4 years. Arnett is showing burst, vision, and instinct again, the very qualities that made him a first-round pick out of Ohio State in 2020. And with a Fort Lauderdale hometown connection, the Dolphins may find added value in a local player eager for redemption. So the question becomes, should the Dolphins consider Arnett? The answer isn't simple, but it leans toward yes, at least for a training camp invite. The cornerback room is shallow, and outside of Ramsey and Kohu, there's little in terms of proven depth. Bringing in Arnett costs next to nothing. There's no guaranteed money, no promises, just a chance. And sometimes, that's all a team needs to find a diamond in the rough. Miami's coaching staff already has some familiarity with him from 2021. If they're confident that the issues which led to his release have been resolved, then there's no harm in taking a closer look. Evaluating talent isn't just about stats. It's about timing, fit, and mindset. Arnett may finally be in the right frame of mind. Of course, there's always risk. A player with Arnett's background comes with headlines and scrutiny and the ever-present possibility of relapse into old habits. The Dolphins would have to do their homework, talk to UFL coaches, teammates, maybe even law enforcement if necessary. But all signs so far point to a man who's turned the corner. He's not just saying the right things, he's doing them. Community events, stable family life, dedication to film study, and performance on the field. It's all part of the redemption arc. And for a team in flux at the cornerback position, Miami can't afford to ignore any potential solution. No matter how unconventional it may seem. At the end of the day, football is about opportunity. It's about stories of growth, perseverance, and second chances. Damon Arnett may never become a Pro Bowler. He may not even crack the 53-man roster. But in a league that constantly recycles talent, why not give a former first-rounder who seems to have turned his life around one last shot? Especially one who's hungry, humbled, and right in your backyard. If nothing else, Arnett's presence in training camp could elevate the competition, push younger players, and bring a different edge to the locker room. The Dolphins have a chance here, not just to potentially bolster their secondary, but to be a part of a comeback story worth telling. So, is Damon Arnett the answer to Miami's secondary struggles? Maybe not, but could he be part of the answer? Absolutely. In the NFL, you take calculated risks. You weigh character, culture, and capability. If Arnett continues to show he's serious about his second chance, and if his UFL tape holds up under NFL scrutiny, then the Dolphins would be wise to consider the possibility. They've taken chances before. Some have paid off, others haven't. But in a league built on depth, where one injury can shift the season's momentum, every roster spot matters. Damon Arnett is fighting for one of those spots, and the Dolphins just might be the team to give it to him. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Ladies and gentlemen, football fans from all over the world, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got an absolute bombshell of a rumor circulating in the NFL community, and if it turns out to be true, it could reshape the entire landscape of the AFC. I'm talking about none other than Nick Bosa. Yes, the Nick Bosa, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, pass rushing phenom, and one of the most feared defenders in the game, allegedly signing with the Miami Dolphins. That's right, folks. You heard it here first. According to multiple insider reports and some cryptic social media activity, Bosa is poised to make South Beach his new home. And to add even more fuel to the fire, sources close to the situation say that Bosa has declared an all-out war on AFC quarterbacks, vowing to wreak havoc across the conference next season. Now, let's take a moment to process just how massive this move would be for the Dolphins. Miami has been quietly assembling one of the most dangerous rosters in the NFL over the past few seasons. With a high-octane offense led by Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins already made waves in the AFC East last year. But adding Nick Bosa to their defensive front, that's a whole new level of scary. Bosa's ability to disrupt offenses single-handedly is unparalleled. Whether he's bull rushing through offensive tackles or using his elite agility to bend around the edge, Bosa is a game changer on every snap. For Miami, this would transform their defense from solid to downright elite, immediately making them serious Super Bowl contenders. But what makes this rumor even juicier is the personal angle. Bosa isn't just moving teams. He's reportedly coming with a mission. According to leaked reports, Bosa is fed up with the narrative that AFC quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow are untouchable superstars. He believes it's time for a defensive player to flip that script and strike fear back into the hearts of these prolific passers. Allegedly, Bosa told teammates that he's declaring war on the entire AFC, and he's ready to prove that defenses still win championships. If that's true, we're about to witness a ferocity we've never seen before from an already relentless player. Let's not forget that Nick Bosa has always been known for his intensity and competitive fire. Coming out of Ohio State, he had massive expectations placed upon him, and he has exceeded every single one. From his Rookie of the Year campaign to his dominance with the San Francisco 49ers, Bosa has consistently been a nightmare for offensive coordinators. But now, leaving the comforts of the NFC and the 49ers system to head to Miami? That signals not just a new chapter, but possibly the most aggressive version of Bosa we've ever seen. And let's be real, with Miami's tropical weather, no state income tax, and an already exciting young team, the fit couldn't be better. Of course, we need to address the potential implications for the 49ers. Losing Nick Bosa would be a monumental blow. San Francisco's defense has been the backbone of their success over the past few years, and Bosa was the face of that unit. Without him, they'd need to scramble to fill a gaping hole in their pass rush. Sure, they've got other playmakers, but replacing a talent like Bosa is virtually impossible. It also raises questions about what led to this decision. Was it contract related? Did Bosa want a new challenge? Or perhaps he sees Miami as a team most poised to give him another shot at a Super Bowl ring? And then there's the AFC. Imagine being a quarterback in that conference right now. You already have to deal with ferocious defenses from teams like the Jets and the Chiefs, but now you've got Nick Bosa breathing down your neck twice as hard. Picture this. It's third and long, you're standing in the pocket, and all you can see out of the corner of your eye is Bosa breaking through your offensive line like a wrecking ball. That's the kind of psychological warfare Bosa is known for. And it's exactly the kind of presence that could tilt the balance of power in the AFC. If this rumor is true, defenses across the conference will have a new gold standard to chase. Let's also talk about how Bosa complements the Dolphins' existing defensive personnel. Miami already boasts stars like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips in their front seven. Not to mention a strong secondary led by Xavier Howard and Jevon Holland. Adding Bosa into that mix would create a terrifying pass rush rotation and allow defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver to unleash a variety of exotic blitz packages. Imagine the Dolphins lining up Bosa and Chubb on opposite sides. Who do you double team? Either way, someone's getting through. This kind of versatility and depth is what championship defenses are made of, and Miami fans should be absolutely ecstatic at the mere possibility. Now, let's shift gears and consider what this means for the broader NFL narrative. The AFC has long been dominated by its superstar quarterbacks, and for good reason. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, these guys are the faces of the league. But defense has always been the great equalizer in football. If Bosa's move to Miami really happens, it could usher in a renaissance of defensive dominance in the AFC. Teams might start shifting draft priorities and free agent strategies, emphasizing offensive line help even more to combat the rising threat of Miami's pass rush. We could be witnessing the start of a new arms race, not for quarterbacks, but for elite defensive players. And finally, let's talk about the fan reaction. Dolphins Nation has already gone wild on social media, with memes, edits, and celebratory posts flooding every corner of the internet. Fans are envisioning Bosa in aqua and orange, sacking Mahomes in a crucial playoff game, or celebrating with the iconic fins up gesture after forcing a game-changing fumble. Meanwhile, 49ers fans are understandably devastated by the prospect of losing their defensive cornerstone. But as with all great sports moves, the story isn't just about the teams, it's about the narratives, the rivalries, and the sheer drama that makes the NFL the greatest show on earth. So, as we wrap up this breaking news segment, let's remember that while this is still just a rumor, The smoke is thick, and where there's smoke, there's usually fire. If Nick Bosa does indeed sign with the Miami Dolphins, we are looking at one of the most seismic shifts in recent NFL history. The AFC would be on notice, quarterbacks would be on high alert, and the Dolphins would instantly vault into Super Bowl contention. We'll keep following this story closely, so make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this move makes Miami the team to beat in the AFC? Let me know. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.